Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're in season 5, episode number 40. Tonight's the songs edition. Andy, we're doing songs tonight. We're going to do an album review. We're going to talk about some tour, concert updates, single releases, music in general.
Got
Right?
some history. I got to bring up some history today.
We always talk about history. Now, today is August 8th, 8-8, August 8th, 2024. And the band we're going to be focusing on is going to be in concert here shortly locally. It's the band Metallica.
I've heard of them.
Yes. Metallica is coming to the Twin Cities at the U.S. Bank Stadium. When is it? A couple weeks, 10 days now? Something like that?
Yeah, it's next weekend.
So they're going to do that. And the album we're going to cover here is Kill 'Em All. Here we go. Let's get the banner. Let's get the banner here so it's not hiding anything here. Here's the album. Now, the reason this is popular or a good one to do, we've never done it, obviously, but this is the debut studio album by the American heavy metal band Metallica, released 1983. So 1983, this is early stuff. This is, you and I, Andy, basically teenagers at this point.
Yes.
I wasn't listening to heavy metal. I wasn't listening to thrash. Perhaps you were, but this was all new. This whole sound was new. They formed in 1981, which was even newer.
My mullet was just starting at this.
It was, okay. They just began, they formed a band. They started playing shows in local clubs in LA. They recorded some demos to gain attention. Then they met this guy named Cliff Burton. Said, "You want to be in the band?" And he says, "Yes, under one condition. You move to San Francisco so you're closer to me and I don't have to drive. I don't want to commute. I don't want a hybrid job. I don't want to do it remote. I want to be on site." So they said, "Okay, that sounds good. We'll bring Cliff Burton in." And so they get a label, kind of a new label called Megaforce. It says, "Here's $15,000. So just record an album." So today's dollars, it's about $49,000 that they were given. Let's take the cash, record an album, and let's see how it works. They said, "Okay, sounds good." They went to Rochester, New York, recorded it. The original title of the album was "Metal Up Your Butt." Metal up your, actually Metal Up Your Ass is what they wanted to call it. They had cover art featuring a hand clutching a dagger emerging from a toilet bowl. Now, this kind of sounds like Beavis and Butthead junior high humor, but these are all guys were fairly young. I mean, this is kind of what it was. The record distributor says, I think that's a little too much. A dagger coming from a toilet bowl. Let's change it. And they said that could be viewed as offensive with the title and the artwork. And they said, that could diminish the chances of commercial success. I'm reading here from just the Wikipedia pullout. So they said, this is a debut album. If you have a couple albums, done already, maybe that would fly, but you're brand new. I don't think this is going to work. This is going to be tough to pull off anyway. So they promoted the album on a 2-month tour, co-headlining with the English heavy metal band Raven. Now Raven I've listened to in the past. I know you have too also, right?
Yep.
Some Raven, some speed metal back there in that day. They called that "Kill 'Em All for One." "Kill 'Em All," the album title for Metallica, and then "All for One" was the Raven album. They put them together and did that. It generated 2 singles from this album called "Whiplash" and "Jump in the Fire." They said, "Hey, let's make 15,000 copies in the U.S." They said, "Okay," and they sold 60,000 copies quickly after their 7 dates of the tour in Europe. The tour was in Europe in 84, and they sold 60,000 before even coming here. So when they did get here in 86, it did not even enter the Billboard 200. It peaked at 155. And then following Metallica's success of their 3rd studio album called Master of Puppets, then in 1988, Elektra reissued the original debut album, and then it peaked at 120. So it was never a number 1 hit album. It was never a number 2 or a top 5 or a top 10. It peaked at 120.
Yet that album has my favorite Metallica song on it.
Ooh, and we'll get to that. Or should we cover it now?
Well, we'll get to it. It's a little teaser.
Okay, a little teaser. It's good stuff, of course. So this was a trailblazing band, kind of cutting new trails here in America. This was brand new stuff. People were not used to it. They liked it, but it was a cross between heavy metal and kind of punk and rock. I mean, it didn't really have a home in the genre. Reading this from Wikipedia, now it's considered thrash metal or speed metal, but back then it didn't really have a home. It was
It didn't
groundbreaking
have a
album.
home here in the States yet. It didn't have a home in the States. That
Okay,
sound is very popular in Europe still. You look at early Maiden, early Judas Priest. You say a little punk, a little Sex Pistols in there. That's the sound it kind of was. It just wasn't here yet. That's why when those bands finally came here, a lot of the youth thought, oh, they're just copying Metallica and Megadeth.
I see.
No, they took the sound from that. And I'm not saying they ripped anyone off. That's a very smart business move. Here's a sound, people like it. We want to do that sound too. So yay to Metallica for bringing it over here. I got no problem with that. It's just saying, before we go patting them on the back and saying, hey, way to invent that music, let's slow the boat down a little bit.
Yeah, and what it says here, and this is a good quote. Let me know if you like this. It's an album where it's called thrash metal because it's fused. It fuses the new wave of British heavy metal riffs with hardcore punk tempos.
Yep.
So it's got a punk feel to it, but the riffs are heavy metal. So it's called thrash metal. Now, the difference here is, which I didn't know until researching this, is it's called precise musicianship. It's very precise. And I remember the first time I heard this, and you talked to parents at the time and teachers in school, and they said it's just loud noise. It's loud. It's just too loud. It's speed metal. Who even knows what they're talking about? I don't even know. They're up there just slashing away on the guitar. No, this is very precise
Yep.
picking on the rhythm side, and very precise notes and very precise drum tempos and bass. And I don't know this either. When I first came in, I thought they're just playing their instruments very loud and trying to make some music out of all this noise. Very, very precise. And over the years, as I became a Metallica fan, one of the things I liked about that is it's so precise. So here is the songs that came out of this album. And then we'll get back into the budget. They did this for very cheap. They had some other changes along the way, but this is some good stuff. So Hit the Lights, first song. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
They're all good songs. There's one that was just above them, the rest, in my opinion.
Hit the Lights was first. I like that. The Four Horsemen I like. That's a song that Dave Mustaine had with his band before, when he first joined Metallica, and they did a spin on that and kind of not stole that, but kind of used the same sound and the same riff. Mustaine was later given credit on that as well. It says here that James Hetfield was not really confident in his singing and vocals because he was so shy. So Dave Mustaine helped him out with fronting and leading, doing the songs and singing them and getting Hetfield up to speed. It's interesting now, with Hetfield being such a great vocalist and such a great front man, that it's bizarre to some of our newer listeners that he was quite shy and didn't know really what to do up there on the stage. So Four Horsemen they brought over from Megadeth. Motor Breath, next song. Love that. Very good. What's your thoughts on that one?
That was an okay song, yeah.
Very
They're
good.
they're all
Jump.
good. You gotta be careful when you listen to these in the car because you do it like 10 miles an hour faster on all of them.
You do, yeah, you do sense do speed. Jump in the Fire, another song co-written by Mustaine.
Yep.
Next song is Anesthesia. Pulling Teeth is a Cliff Burton solo on bass.
Yes. My second favorite one on that album.
Now, the funny thing here, Andy, is this is the same bass solo that Burton was playing for years in his previous band or bands. He was doing a solo, and when these guys came in and watched the show, I think, I'm not sure who was there, but they heard this solo. They said, boy, that's a really good solo. I love the guitar work. And they said, no, look closer. How many strings are on that thing? And they said, I think it's only four strings. I think that's a bass.
Yep.
And they said, yep, that's a bass. It's a solo. Cliff Burton would play a solo so wild. It sounded like really weird, really different, but it was simply just a bass. And so they said, let's throw it on this album. They did. It took them a bunch of minutes to get the studio set up, and he asked everyone to leave. And you can hear on the recording the engineer saying, bass solo, take one. And he lays it down. He lays it on one track, the entire thing down.
He was a professional.
It was a 4-minute and 14-second song, Pulling Teeth, Cliff Burton. Love it. Next song is Whiplash. Another very good. I like pretty much all these songs. Next song is Phantom Lord. Another Mustaine got the co-credit on that. Next song is No Remorse. Hetfield, Lars Ulrich are basically all these. Hetfield and Ulrich are on all these. Seek and Destroy.
There it is.
There it is. That's the song.
The original Metallica song that everybody got hooked on. Everything else after that was just like second, third, fourth after this. Nothing has come close to that song to me.
In fact, I just listened to that today. I do like everything about that song. Very good. Seek and Destroy. That's a Hetfield song. And then finally, song 10 is Metal Militia, also with Mustaine. So Mustaine brought or contributed 4 songs over. It's a nice 10-song album.
But like you said before, you can tell if you know anything about music and you listen to it, it was just 4 guys who turned into 11 and cranked and whatnot. They're very good notes with very good changes. The vocals are good. It wasn't, like I said, like grandma and grandpa or mom and pa thought they were just going there, turning it up and see how much noise they can make. Maybe part of that's true.
Yeah.
You listen to the music. You listen to the voices, the vocals. Very good. Very, very well done.
Now, in 1988 on the Elektra, when they did the reissue, they did cover the songs Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg. And both of those are covers. Am I Evil is from Diamond Head and Blitzkrieg from Blitzkrieg. But those, I love both those songs as well. I mean, there's 12 songs here if you get the 1988 reissue. All these songs are good. Once again, no ballads. There are instrumentals. Some of the songs do run long. It gets into the 51-minute marker. And here is the personnel. James Hetfield, vocals. I just still love thinking him as a shy guy. And then rhythm guitar. Very, very good rhythm guitar. And he's one of the best when it comes to picking on the rhythm. Very precise. Love that. Kirk Hammett, lead guitar. He took tutoring lessons from Mr. Joe Satriani, Andy.
Very good. If you learn from Joe or anyone, most of these, like we said before, a lot of hard rock metal, have a lot of blues background. Satriani, you don't think of blues, you're Satriani, but still a perfectionist. Him, Beck, Clapton. A lot of these guys, that same school. It's one of those 3. A lot of metal guys will say Satriani, Beck, Clapton as influences.
So very interesting. So, they started off with Mustaine, Dave Mustaine, and then he was fired by Hetfield and Ulrich the morning of April 11th after a gig in New York because of his drug, alcohol problems, his overly aggressive behavior, and clashes with the bandmates. At this point, they recommended bringing on Kirk Hammett. And here it says here, he was playing in Exodus and a one-time student of Joe Satriani. They said, if you can learn the songs, you can do it. Take it in. We got to get back to New York on the East Coast. Hammett learned the songs on his flight to New York and started recording the album with Metallica barely a month later. Now, can you even believe that?
I mean, that just shows you, though, when you're schooled by Satriani, how you learn. You don't just you pay attention and you learn.
And if you hear of these, once again, my only remembrance of these guys back in the early days is that, they're long-haired potheads. They just crank the music up and they're idiots. These are very precise, very good musicians. Very, very good. So you get Cliff Burton, one of the best ever on the bass. Kirk Hammett, taking tutoring from Joe Satriani, Lars Ulrich on drums. So that was the band. They had Mustaine, got rid of him. He went on to form Megadeth, as we all know. So these guys all got along and did pretty well. They started off doing some a lot of local clubs.
And here's the one odd thing about Metallica, if you think about it. If you ask people, go just the 80s, 1980 through 1989. Give me your top 5 bass players, top 5 drummers, top 5 lead singers, top 5 guitarists. There's going to be no Metallica guys in there anywhere. You say, name your favorite band. Metallica's going to be number 1 or number 2. Because those 4 worked together so well.
Yes.
Van Halen. Oh, Eddie Van Halen's a great guitarist. But not a lot of people put Van Halen in the top 5.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy was a great, drummer, but they don't put him in the top 5. This bass player is great. They don't put maybe Hammett will be 5th for guitarists, but you don't see or hear those names a lot. But yet the band is number 1 or 2 for most people because they worked so well together.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The other thing I want to see here, they talked about the original initial mix. They were not pleased with the initial mix for this album because they thought, well, you know what, the drums are too loud, the guitars are too low, and so they remixed it. By the time they got it done, the final cost for the record rounded out to be once again about $15,000. They got it all done, but it almost caused what's his name, Zazula, who was he said, almost went bankrupt. I didn't have this money laying around. He said, that was mortgage money I'm spending. It's not something I was setting aside to invest. It almost bankrupted me for doing this. But then he formed the label Megaforce on this album. So he also had a hard time finding a distributor for the record and got it going. And so Kill 'Em All, from a musical perspective, features intricate riffing. Very, very good stuff. This album is also considered crucial in thrash metal's genesis because it introduced fast percussion, low register chords, and shredding leads to the genre. Yeah, it's they've got the lyrics created excitement for the band. It was just this was a very fun time to be into the music scene. Like I said, I wasn't part of it. I'm just going back and learning what I missed back earlier, but this was very good stuff. Metal Militia, one of the fastest songs on the album, is about heavy metal's way of life and nonconformity. Mustaine composed the main riff, which emulates a marching army. The song ends with tramping feet and a bullet ricochet in a fade out. So, they really gave Mustaine the shaft at first for all he put into this, and then finally gave him some credit at the end. They always did basically butt heads for the rest of the career, but very influential to have this group put together this album. Now, going through trying to get the distributors to release this, a lot of people said no, and that's when at the time they were trying to come up with a new name for the album. And I think, who's the one who said it? Do you know, Andy?
No, I can't remember.
Here. Someone says, you know what? They're becoming so frustrated. They said, kill them all. All these distributors, these labels and these record distributors, kill them all. And they said, hey, we're looking for an album name that we couldn't use the first one to turn down. They said, kill them all sounds pretty good. Let's keep the dagger, or let's keep the hammer and keep the blood in there with the hand, and then just call it Kill 'Em All, referencing to trying to deal with people in the music industry. And so that's how they got the name for this. So then later they embarked on their first European trek with Twisted Sister, and they supported Venom's 7 Dates of Hell tour. And so they racked up, fans very quickly. Fight Fire with Fire. Yes, I see this. Creeping Death. And so those are some of the other songs on the other album. But these guys, very good. I'll take the banner here down. That's the album. Very iconic. But Metallica also had almost all their albums had iconic covers, or a handful, I should say. But yeah, that was 80. That was 84. I remember that. I love the stuff now, but it took me a while to warm up to Metallica. Once they got more commercial, I warmed up to them. When it got into more of the bubblegum, teeny bopper stuff, when it became more commercialized, I was one of those, Andy. And then I went back and really, really enjoyed the heavy thrashing stuff now, and that's what I enjoy now. But I had to learn it kind of backwards.
After Master of Puppets, I really didn't. I mean, I listened to it, but kind of like lost something,
Yes, this one did go
the man. It felt like
3 times platinum. 3 times platinum.
Yeah, feels like they sold out to the man.
Yes, that's all I've got. There's some. The last thing I want to mention here before you jump in is this is for like Rolling Stone's list of top 100 greatest albums. Ranked number 35. Kill 'Em All. Ranked 35. It's number 54 in the 100 best debut albums of all time.
Yep.
Give them that. 100 greatest metal albums of all time. Ranks 35th. And then ranked in Kerrang! Magazine, number 29 among the 100 greatest heavy metal albums of all time. So if you're a fan or thinking of becoming a fan or diving in deeper, you need to add this one to your collection, and it's got some good stuff.
All right, here we go.
Stuff on it. It's old school, very old school.
Saw a meme today. There they had.
Yes.
I had to share it. He said he liked Van Halen, but then I found out it was the Sammy era.
See, that's good. I like that meme. I'm one of those like you, I think, Andy, that just not a fan of the Sammy era. I love the old school.
I like Sammy, but like we said before, you change lead singers, you've changed the band. AC/DC, even with AC/DC, Bon Scott, Byron Johnson, they're different. Still both great.
Yep.
But different. All right, here we go. Friends of the show, Mad Alice, had on their Facebook page that they're having some issues with their website. So we're here to help.
Yes. Here's
our next few dates ahead on there. August 23rd, Tribute Fest in Duluth. August 31st, Chanhassen Dinner Theater. Yes, that's right. Chanhassen Dinner Theater is doing concerts every now and then.
Awesome.
Bogart's on September 13. Down in Monticello, October 5 at Montopalooza 2. God, I'm practicing all day to say that too. Proud of myself. Got it out.
Yeah, they do the first one in May, I think, and now they're doing 2 a year.
Yeah. Bird's Bar in Superior, Wisconsin on October 11. November 1 at the Red Carpet in St. Cloud. Then the 16th of November back in Monticello at the Nordic Brew Pub. You can reach Mad Alice. There's their name on Facebook right there, Mad Alice, a tribute to Alice in Chains and Mad Season. Check them out. Send them if you got any messages, concerns. Tell them the guys at Sports and Songs sent you. Birthday. Got a little birthday notice here for you. Bruce Dickinson the other day had a birthday. From
yes,
Iron Maiden. Bruce is just he's got such a great voice. He's done so many things. Such a smart man. Kind of said with Dave Mustaine, listen to the lyrics of Iron Maiden, and you'll appreciate it even more. Also, Nudie Holder, lead singer of Slade. If you're not familiar with some of Slade's most popular works, check out the early stuff of Quiet Riot.
No,
Come Out Feel the Noise.
Andy, we've never done a Slade album.
You listen to some of the old Slade stuff, you'd realize how many other songs have been remade. Like I said, Come Out Feel the Noise by Quiet Riot. Multiple other Slade songs have been redone. Their videos and them as a band were different. We're different. I'll just say that. Very good band. I would check them out.
Okay.
Homework. That's your homework, Dan.
I will add that to my list.
Some Slade. You go back in history now a little bit. Kind of our beginning of the show. On this date, 1992, A riot broke out during a Guns N' Roses and Metallica gig in Montreal Stadium when Metallica's show cut short after singer James Hetfield was injured by pyrotechnics. Guns N' Roses took the stage, but frontman Axl Rose claimed that his throat hurt, causing the band to leave the stage early. The cancellation led to a riot by the ambulance, who overturned cars, smashed windows, looted local stores, and set fire. Now, this concert in 92, the pyrotechnics that went off burned James's hair, his back, his shoulders. They took time off. When they came back to tour, one of the shows they missed was the Metrodome in Minneapolis.
Okay.
They came back in October, I believe, of that year and played. I was in college at NDSU, came down for the show. James had been burned so bad he wasn't playing guitar. They had a guy from Middle Church who stood in the back corner, no lights on him, because he knew everybody paid to see these four guys, not him. And James just looked lost out there at the microphone. He didn't know what to do. He's used to standing there playing. He was lost.
Yeah.
Lights go down. They come back out for the encore, and he's playing the guitar. Place blew up. Oh, by the way, my next day back to NDSU, I went back to NDSU that night.
Yeah. Oh, my.
Next morning, not one of my best tests ever that next day.
Oh, no. I'm guessing not.
Not a good one. Our friends at Medina, don't forget to check out Robert's Bar and Restaurant beforehand if you're there. And if you're smart enough, stay at the other end of the parking lot and stay in the hotel. Church of Cash, we've talked about that before, September 14th. $31 and $43 for tickets. You know what? Spend the money and go.
Okay.
If you let Johnny Cash, well worth it. October 12th, the Lamont Cranston Band. Saturday, October 12th. Now, there's other concerts in between. I just picked like 3 or 4 to talk about here.
Okay.
November 2nd, Tennessee Whiskey, a Chris Stapleton tribute. Chris Stapleton, country music artist, Andy. What are you doing?
Yeah,
a lot of people like rock and roll. They like Chris Stapleton. Just saying.
As not a big fan of either, I still think that would be good to go see and listen to that tribute. I would be interested in going to that.
Yeah, this one's kind of I kind of want to push that button. $23 and $35. I figure 35 was on the floor, 23 is around the outer ring. Even if you got inside, $35. I'm not made of money, but that's not bad.
No. That's interesting. I would be interested in just hearing the sound there.
November 2nd. It's a Saturday night. Something to think about. That's what I got, man. That's all I got.
Yeah, good stuff. Chris Stapleton, I think, anything he does sounds good, and this is a tribute to him. So this is, what is this? A guy that sounds just like him?
Sounds like him. Ask the missus what her opinion is of Chris Stapleton. Go, do you think I'd like him?
Yes. I already know the answer.
He's toured with other rock guys. Rock guys have worked with him, so I hear he'd be pretty good.
Even that, the other one you mentioned, Lamont Cranston.
Lamont Cranston
would still be a good show. That's been a local band here for, 50 years?
Ever.
Yes. Forever. They've been around, and they have some ties into some Seattle scene music.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
We talked about that before. The bassist, I think, for Mad Season, came in from there. But anyway, that's all I've got. That's Metallica. Please leave your comments and questions below.
Metallica concert coming this weekend. Right before that, Queen's Reich will be doing Operation Mindcrime and Justice for All, the Metallica tribute band.
And One for All.
One for All. I was going blank on the word there. I'm reading my note. I couldn't say it. They are doing a tribute concert. They've been asked to do them beforehand. Highly recommend go see both of those. And you never know who might make a guest appearance on the show before then, too.
Ooh. So, and One for All, that's a Metallica tribute band. Very new, based here in the Twin Cities, but supposed to be one of the premier Metallica gigs. I mean, that's supposed to be
around for like a year, and they're one of the premier gigs already.
And so Metallica got the blessing from Metallica band themselves to do the night before act for their show. down there.
93X had a little to do with it too, I heard.
Bogarts, 93X tied that in with the local radio station to get them to play. And the opening act for that show is Queens of the Reich. It's a Queensryche tribute band playing, what's the album?
Operation Mindcrime, from front to back, or back to front, as some say, but front to back.
Every
when
song.
Beth was on the show last about, I don't remember, a few months back, she said they were working on it. We've been sharing her posts. They've got it down. This is, I think, going to be their first show of doing it.
I believe so.
So, and you heard it here first months ago.
That's Queens of the Reich does a great tribute to Queensryche of all their, their big hits, some of the deep tracks. But never have they done an entire album, Operation Mindcrime, front to back, which they're going to do there at Bogarts in Apple Valley.
Which is kind of like a story album. I know you're not a real big fan of those, but it tells a story. You have to listen to it in order, which was weird about the album, how they released a couple songs. They did well, but you get more appreciation for the song when you listen to the whole album.
That'll be the night before at the U.S. Bank down there in Bogarts in Apple Valley South, Twin Cities South. And then the next day is the big Metallica event, which is, there's ads all over the place now here locally in the Twin Cities area about that upcoming show. That's going to be huge. Metallica always does well here.
And the thing I find funny about this, and when you get the band who's at upper level, the Metallicas of the world, all of a sudden, locally here anyway, those who are locally will get this. Cool 108's giving out tickets to it. Jack FM has tickets for it. 93X has tickets for it. KQ has tickets for it. All four stations are playing Metallica. Cool 108 is playing Metallica. Granted they play the ballady songs, but still, everyone's trying to get a piece of this pie.
Yeah,
and
it is.
That just shows you how much pull they got, or do they? Either they got great publicists who got 4 radio stations pimping you, or you're really like, I don't know. Everybody's their own. And around the same week, too, also coming up at the Target Field there is the Def Leppard Journey concert, Steve Miller Band. So
we're in for a handful of goodies in the Minnesota State Fair starting now as well. So
lots of big names in town.
Lots of options. Have a good week, everyone. We'll be back next week.
Happy trails.
See ya.